Hello, world. Hello, world. I am here with Majin J-Mac, and I wanted him to take a second look at this gun right here, my .22 long rifle, German Sporting Goods, 1911. However, he refused to do the video unless he can compare it to what he calls a real 1911.
Yes.
Take it away.
What we have here is 3 examples of the iconic 1911. You have his German sports gun, chambered in .22 long rifle, a Springfield model 1981 chambered in 9mm, and my Kimber chambered in .45 ACP, the American caliber. At least, we're really the only ones who use it. First off, I'll start with this shiny piece of shit.
Why you gotta be so mean?
This is the most disappointing firearm I've ever shot. For the first 6 months he owned it, it gave us nothing but problems for this very dissatisfying round.
I left that out of my review video. Well, more or less.
That's a you problem. The nice thing about this gun is it has multiple safety features outside of 1911's, beaver tail and thumb safety. It's also got a magazine detached safety or whatever they're considered.
Actually, a lot of people consider that a downside if the magazine's not seated fully, but it does teach you to seat the magazine fully. I mean, it's a good learning tool, but...
Perfect example why this gun is garbage. This is a very cheap planking toy. That's about all it's good for. The sights on it are great. It shoots fairly well. It's got a very dissatisfying sound every time the slider acts. Just a little click. But with that being said, don't waste your $500 or whatever it was on this. Maybe less than that. I don't remember what he paid. With that being said, that's my opinion on this little thing. Now, he recently bought this. His Springfield 1911 A1 chambered in 9mm. Nice little gun. I mean, the sights aren't the greatest. You can't really see from the picture in the camera.
We'll bring it up closer for a takedown.
I mean, it's all aluminum. At least it feels all aluminum. It's very light. Not a lot of recoil. Accurate to be expected from 9mm. A lot easier to tear down than this German piece of shit. And overall, it's a fun gun to shoot. I mean, they're not highly expensive. I think new, these go for around the $800 mark. He probably paid $5 something for it. All in all, it's a good gun. I have no problem, in comparison. 45 from true 1911, 9mm. I mean, goes faster, it's going to penetrate. Slow, hits hard. If they're wearing a heavy coat, it might not go through. Just a problem. And then finally, this is mine. This is a Kimber Tactical Entry 2, 1911, all steel frame, steel slide, fancy tritium night sights, flared magwell, every bell and fucking whistle you could think of. This is an $1,800 1911. I paid around the $800 mark for it used. It is definitely the nicest of the 3 guns in quality and 45, so it's great. I mean, in comparison, that's why I assume this is an all aluminum construction. It's a lot lighter, has a little bit more muzzle flip, which is odd being a smaller caliber. Has no front serrations or Picatinny rail, which probably helps determine the price difference. And these weird block sights in comparison to tritium night sights. The textures on the grips are not too different. The Kimber definitely has a more aggressive backstrap for a better grip. But overall, it's a nice little gun. We had fun shooting it last weekend. And like I said, both of these are a lot easier to take down than this. If this thing jams at the range, well, and you can't fix it with some remedial action, as I'll call it, you're not shooting this the rest of the day.
I fixed it once by jamming a cleaning rod down it. That counts as remedial action. Doesn't everyone have a ramrod with them at the range?
None of my guns have ever required that, so no, I don't carry one.
Fair enough. Alright, let's bring the camera closer so that they can view these up close and personal.
Alright.
So that means I have to throw wipe away. Alrighty then. Now I'm behind the camera, and Mr. J-Mac is in front of the camera. And here is the .22 long rifle that you've seen before. Don't you just love it?
No, I think you should get rid of it.
I'm not. I like it.
But let's just go over some differences, I guess, through all three of these guns. Starting with this 22 millimeter disgrace of a gun. As you see, I mean, it does have decent sights on it, probably the best feature of the firearm. Everything else, it's relatively simple. It's all aluminum. It's got really cheap grips on it. They're not very aggressive. There's no texturing on the back strap. Just not a lot to say about this. It's not a very engaging safety. And have fun trying to take this thing apart. That's about
The
all.
safety is ambidextrous, though. Though
I,
some people do see that as a downside.
I'm not a fan of ambidextrous safeties myself. And it's got these really shallow serrations compared to the other two.
But you don't need heavy serrations.
I guess you don't. Now back to what I really enjoy talking about. Comparing the Kimber to the Springfield. It just really comes down to your price point and preference, honestly.
Let's look at the Springfield first. So here's a good shot of the Springfield. Let's get those logos on the screen and let everyone at YouTube gaw over how amazing the gun looks.
It is very good.
Because this will be the first actual view they have on it on my channel.
Ah.
So,
I mean, Springfield, it's a good, I'm going to consider this a mid-grade 1911. They're not overly priced like a Kimber or a Nighthawk or, you know, Wilson Combat. Those get into the really high dollar range. It's got nice, you know, engaging safeties, very stiff. It doesn't have the ambidextrous safety, which I think is an upside. I don't like ambidextrous safeties. The duckbill, I mean, very active. Not a lot to say. It's got nice slide serrations. The engraving's real good on it. It's a really high quality, no, good quality firearm. I don't like that.
it does tend to make a strange vinyl squeak, but I'm not sure what that is.
And I don't know if it's the all aluminum, but it's not a very satisfying.
I think it's satisfying
You
myself.
drop the slide. It's a nice gun, you know. 9mm is cheaper than 45. The magazines are a little bit smaller, so they're probably easier to conceal when separated from the gun. And we come down to the most expensive gun between the two of us is this Kimber 1911. It's tactical entry 2. Means it comes with tritium night sights, front rail system, all steel construction. It's got very aggressive back straps, really nice texturing, flared mag well. Overall, it's a very well engineered gun, and it has this very distinctive ring. Just hear it. It's beautiful. It's never failed to let me down. What?
Except when you're talking about its holster.
Yeah. Anybody who buys one of these, do not buy a Kimber leather holster to go along with it. The front sight profile on this is too big for the holster, so it will get stuck and be a pain in the ass to pull out.
There it is.
Here's the holster I'm
It was
talking
on
about.
my hip.
As it says, Kimber. It's ordered from Kimber. It's an expensive holster. Goes into the gun, no problem. Gun goes into the holster, no problem. You got to pull it out, and it always gets caught on that front sight.
But
Always.
what's funny is the Springfield does not have that problem.
The Springfield slides right in, comes right out, no problems. So I'm just going to assume that is a detail that Kimber failed to realize when they decided to make a universal holster to fit all of their 1911s. It will not fit the 1911s. I don't know if all of them with the tritium sights from Kimber.
I suspect it has something to do with the sights in combination with the rail. Your bottom rails, because they're increasing the amount of force that this bottom bit of leather is putting on the top part of the gun.
That could be the case. But overall, I mean, that being said, I corrected that issue by having a holster by just buying a Blackhawk level 2 holster. It's very nice. It's got the finger depressor for release. Gets the job done. When it comes down to it, though, at the end of the day, both of these guns are great to shoot. Dax prefers 9mm to 45. Timber, sorry.
Whatever.
Prefers his 9mm to 45, where I prefer the bigger caliber. Yeah, I mean, the downside, these are single stack guns. He gets, 8 or 9 rounds of 9mm to my 8 rounds of 45.
You keep leaving out the 22. Why are you not talking about the 20? Look at the magazine on it. It's beautiful. It's solid metal.
Okay, one of the reasons I'm leaving that out, these are our everyday carry guns.
True.
So it's nice to have a good, solid opinion on why we carry these every day, even though they have the inherent downside of being
I
single
actually
stack.
have the opinion this is a good carry gun. Not for you, for a woman.
Well, for a woman, sure.
For a woman who wants to up to this, and you can carry this while you up yourself to this. So you can keep this for your range, keep this for carry, and then when your woman is done with this at the range and learning and carrying, she can up to this, and then this thing can just sit on the shelf.
Okay, for this, as disappointing as this is, if recoil is a problem, you buy one of these in 9mm, made out of all steel, so there's more weight to keep the recoil down, and this should have about the same recoil as this.
I'm starting to suspect you don't like my gun.
No, this is the only gun he owns I do not like. It is a piece of junk. It did nothing but jam for 6 months while we were at the range shooting it. The break-in period was a pain in my ass. Horribly. The grips are garbage. The backstrap is bad.
Well, speaking of which, I'm the editor, so I get to show them a clip of me actually shooting this gun. And the Springfield. But not the Kimber because it's yours.
You can take the Kimber to the range with you and show them how it shoots. You just have to buy a box of 45 first.